What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live again through the power of the internet. And today I want to discuss what many people consider to be one of my biggest character flaws. One of, mind you. I have many. Is it my morbid obesity? Maybe. Yeah, that's one we could talk about. Is it my lack of self-awareness? No, we could talk about that too. But instead, I want to talk about being a fence sitter because that recently came up when Ethan Klein mentioned it on his podcast. And I wanted to talk about why I'm a fence sitter and why on some days I even consider it a virtue and not a character flaw. But before I get started, a big warning here, trigger warning I should say, but though I don't mean it for any like softy liberals, I mean it for this group of people who get really upset when I talk about this stuff. In this video, I'm going to talk about my mental health. I'm going to talk about my history that led to this mental health issues. I'm not using it as an excuse, but I am explaining how it got to where I am. And believe it or not, there's people that just get really mad. They're like, Boogie, how dare you talk about yourself on your YouTube channel about things that happened to you? Why are you going to make it about yourself? It should be self-explanatory, but yeah, I'm going to do that today. So if you're that person, hit the back button. Go watch a takedown video on somebody else. But there's a bunch of people that perceive me as someone who can't take a side in things. Which is weird to me because I have marched with Black Lives Matter here in my town. I definitely took a side with that one, right? I am a card-carrying LGBTQ supporter. I have supported several different LGBTQ charities, including using this YouTube channel to do it. So it's not that I can't take a side, it's that most of the time I don't want to. Take, for example, this tweet that I made that offended Ethan Klein. Yesterday's video discusses that link, but in that video, I recognized the fact that a lot of people on my timeline do not like Ethan, but I still wished him well. And that really upset Ethan because he felt like I wasn't willing to commit to my love of Ethan Klein, but I was also trying to keep in mind the people on my timeline that dislike Ethan. And you know what? He's not wrong. Looking back on it, having slept on it for 24 hours, I'll admit that's probably part of what was going through my mind. I didn't want to receive hate for supporting Ethan when he was sick. Sorry. And some people much smarter than me have said, well, Boogie, then you probably shouldn't have said anything at all. Just stay out of it. And that's the problem. Those people are smarter than me. I am not known for my intelligence, especially when it comes to my Twitter feed, which I treat kind of like my personal blog, but also my therapy, but also a way to just directly chat with my fans, forgetting that other people see it as well. I've been on Twitter for 14 years, and I should know because every celebrity, every YouTuber I know says, get the fuck off there. It's a shit show. It's a nightmare. Unless you're going to weaponize it, don't use it, or else it'll be weaponized against you. I mean, that's a quote from a podcast I listen to. You know what? I keep doing it. Again, I am not that bright, but I've been called a fence sitter ever since Gamergate happened. And for those of you who don't remember the nightmare that was 2014 for gaming and YouTube and everything else, basically a bunch of people got accused of, a bunch of women I should say, got accused of not reporting video games fairly or correctly. And so that involved a bunch of people attacking women in the gaming industry, and that made women feel uncomfortable. And I took the fence-sitting side of saying attacking women is wrong, but also we should be reporting gaming content fairly, right? Like, obviously, don't harass women. Everybody could agree with that. But also, we should probably do our jobs with some level of fucking integrity, right? And to me, that was like an intelligent, erudite, smart way of looking at things, right? Like, here's something on this side, here's something on that side, smash the two together, we come to an agreement, everybody wins. No, women don't have to be harassed, and the gaming industry is better for it. Everybody wins, right? No, I was a notorious outcast, fence-setter, piece of shit by both sides. Still confusing to me, but I would like to reiterate, I'm not that intelligent. So as someone who is perpetually in therapy, eventually this is one of the topics I brought up in therapy. Am I a fence sitter? Why am I a fence sitter if I am one? And a lot of people back then and even today accused me of just not liking upsetting anybody, not liking offending anybody, wanting everyone to like me. And you know what? Through therapy, I found out that is exactly correct. For some kids that grow up in abusive homes, we turn out to be people pleasers. We want everyone to like us, and we'll do just about anything to get people to like us. We don't like to rock the boat. We don't like to upset anybody. When somebody is upset with us, it's very difficult for us to deal with. And if you think about it, obviously that makes sense, because if I didn't keep my abuser pleased and happy, then there was a very real chance that person was going to hurt me. And if I dared stand my ground and shared a disagreeing opinion with that person, there's a real chance this person would kill me, right? I mean, that woman cut me, burnt me, hit me in the head with a hammer, cut me with a knife. She nearly killed me a couple of times. So it stands to reason that that would translate into my adult life as well, since the first 20 years of my life was that. One of the reasons it seems like a virtue to me is that I've learned to pick my battles. The things I really care about, I'll stand up for. I'll fight for them, right? Not generally myself, but other people and other things. Again, we mentioned Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ, stuff like that. So I've helped those people as best I could, right? But when it comes to shit I don't care about, like the Ethan Klein versus Keemstar debate, like, why would I pick a side on that? Or politics, why would I pick Donald Trump and worship him, or Hillary Clinton and worship him? How about I just worship nobody? Because they both suck, because they're politicians, and all politicians by nature are self-absorbed, narcissistic pieces of shit who only want the job to do harm and benefit themselves. That's another video, though. The other reason I consider it a virtue is because I've been raised in the United States, and specifically I was born in 1974. So during the 70s, 80s, and 90s, we were all under this stupid impression that if the Democrats worked together and the Republicans worked together, and we found common ground, that's how the country would work, and that's how the country had worked for the last 200 years. So in my mind, it makes sense when two opposing sides find common ground and agree on something and get that a common ground done and taken care of. That's when things benefit. I know that's not the way the world seems to work now, and I know that's not how people view it, but I'll tell you, that's what they taught us in the 80s. I promise you, they did. And you know what? Back when I started YouTube, back in 2007, it was a virtue. The fact that you could appeal to both sides of an audience, every side of an audience. The fact that you could find common ground that everyone was interested in. And you could discuss those topics and keep in mind every different facet of people that might consume that content in the hopes that they could learn and understand and empathize with what you were discussing, made it a virtue. Made it accessible and awesome and cool. Not so much in 2022. And you know what? I'm beginning to see things the way the rest of the world sees it. In fact, the way my therapist sees it, which is, you know what? I am a member of this society. I am a member of YouTube. Maybe I need to pick a side. Maybe I need to fight for what's right. Maybe I can't just be a neutral observer for the rest of my life. And yes, some people are going to hate me anyway, so may as well stand for what I believe in, because if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. I don't like that, but it seems right. What I certainly will say is that in the modern climate, or even the climate of maybe the last 10 years, since 2014, because I tried to be a neutral voice, because I wanted to see both sides, it didn't keep people from hating me. In fact, it made a very certain group of people despise me. So, oopsie, it definitely did not serve the purpose the tool was supposed to serve. So it's probably time to get that tool out of my tool shed. Now, you may not know this, but since 2019, I've actually been trying to be more assertive. The problem is, when I finally react, when I finally let myself get angry and fight for myself, I tend to overreact. I bet you can come up with a recent example. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So long story short, Ethan does not like this quality in me. Hell, I don't like this quality in me, so you don't have to like this quality in me. I just want to let you know it's something I'm absolutely working on. But don't expect me to fight for everything. Don't expect me to pick an opinion or a side and everything. Like Keemstar, Ethan drama? No, that shit's beneath even me. That shit should be beneath those two. It's fucking dumb. Shit's dumb. But maybe more stuff that's important to me. Like, again, the LGBTQ, Black Lives Matter, equality, human rights, shit like that. I hope to get involved in more stuff like that. And for the stuff I don't care about, maybe one day I'll learn to talk about it less. Now, something I saw on Twitter that I want to close with, a lot of people said this is me just deflecting. What was Ethan supposed to do? Is he not allowed to criticize you? Well, Ethan does know that I have a medically diagnosed anxiety disorder. I discussed it with him both in person and every time I was on his podcast. And I know he's a busy guy. He may not remember that about me, but it is kind of core to my brand. It's like forgetting that M&Ms are chocolate. If you don't remember that Boogie's mentally ill, you have memory issues. If you ever forget that my brain don't work too good, here's a reminder. But if you are ever needing to criticize somebody with anxiety issues, maybe don't do it on your podcast with over 1 million people who watch and listen to it. Maybe discuss it with them in person. And, you know, I would much rather Ethan came to my house and slapped me across the face like he was Will Smith and I was Chris Rock than I would him decide to do all of this publicly. It'd be way easier for me to handle. And I think Ethan probably knew that. Maybe not, though. If you need to criticize or have a problem with somebody with mental health issues, try doing it personally, not publicly. Try doing it with love and respect and empathy and sympathy. And whereas it might not work because we can put up some pretty big walls, it gives you your best chance. And it reduces the chance of doing harm. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Now, as usual, this is one man's opinion. I know I could be wrong. And if you enjoyed this video, let me know by leaving a comment down below, dropping a like on this video, and showing me some level of support. If you are still interested in the ongoing, very slowly moving progress updates that I put out, you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would love it if you did. Guys, as always, thanks for watching. I love you very much, and I'll speak with you again soon. I almost burped on that outro because of the water. I wanted you to know I was drinking water instead of soda today. Don't forget to hydrate.